Is all right. So you to talk about the showdown between Caleb Plant and Canelo Alvarez. Oh, by the way, quick note: the Raiders lost to, and I'm gonna talk about to the New York Giants. David Carr was, I mean, excuse me, Derek Carr was terrible, and this is why I believe that the Raiders won't ever win a Super Bowl as long as Derek Carr is their starting quarterback. He just don't got it. And that's just the bottom line, which I'm gonna talk about that later because I watched that game and last minute fumble, two picks. I mean, come on, man, come on, man. But yeah, I'll get back to football today. I promise. I promise I'll get back to football. Real talk. I'll talk NFL later on today. And the Dallas Cowboys was getting smoked too by the Denver Broncos. So anyway, let's begin. Okay, so as I said before, I think Canelo is an extraordinary fighter. I think he's a great fighter. I think he's a really good fighter. But when it's all said and done, when you look at his career, you just gonna just look at certain things about Canelo that's gonna bother you. His greatness is there, but then it's just he is tied to controversy, whether you like it or not. So apparently the scorecards came out, and even if Canelo wouldn't have got the stoppage, he was well ahead on the scorecards, so he was going to win the fight regardless unless he got knocked out. And Steve Farhood's scorecard, I disagree to say the least. I had Caleb Plant ahead in that fight until the stoppage. I'm not going to argue with you about it. That's how I feel. Anybody come on here saying something crazy, you going to get bounced. We can have a discussion about it, but it will not be no disrespect towards me. I will Kevin Samuels your ass. Quickly. But yeah, it appears that Canelo, into the stoppage, he was up 10 rounds to 2. I watched that fight clearly. I wasn't paying attention to what Showtime was saying, even though it was very loud where I was at. I was at a bar in Alameda, California. So I was at a bar, I was watching it, and I wasn't paying attention to the broadcasters because when Steve Farhood showed his scorecard, I said, okay, here we go. And that's the thing, when you fight Canelo, it's next to impossible to get a decision against him. So at the end of the day, you just going in there to lose. Whether Canelo beats you down or not. Now you hearing David Benavidez could be up next, maybe Cinco de Mayo weekend. But there's a possibility that Canelo could squeeze a fight in like around maybe February. But you hearing that, you hearing David Benavidez. So at the end of the day, I guess Showtime want Canelo back. I can't wait to see what the numbers are for this particular fight. The numbers will tell you whether Showtime is going to try to sign Canelo to a long-term deal because they wanted Canelo back. And you know now that Canelo is not with Canelo is pretty much a promotional free agent. So he pretty much can go wherever he wants to go, which I think that's a good thing. Now, I wasn't mesmerized by the knockout like how Josh Taylor was saying, because he didn't beat Caleb Plant down. He didn't get going until the second half of the fight, and that's just the honest to God truth. At the end of the day, he got Caleb Plant out of there. Now, I heard Divine Sense talking about something with the referee, that he called a halt to the fight a little too early. And I'll have to watch it again, but I really objectively watched that fight. And I had Caleb Plant. He was outboxing Canelo. But, Canelo made the adjustments. The thing about Caleb Plant that I knew that was probably eventually going to cost him, and Tim Bradley broke this down, Even when Caleb Plant is on defense and he kneels down to avoid punches, he don't put himself in position where he could come with a good counter, because he's vulnerable even on DC. The thing about Floyd always was in a position where he could throw punches. He always left one hand open to where he could throw a punch. Even if he had that shoulder roll, he would turn and had one shoulder up. So like if you swung at Floyd could instantly either get out the way or he could come with the check lead right. So Floyd was always in position to punch. Caleb Plant wasn't. But at the end of the day, to me, he put on a good performance. He just showed that he didn't have the experience. But he did very well in the fight. It wasn't a blowout, and I'm sorry. I'm not going to sit up here and tell what would appear to me to be a lie, because I thought Caleb Plant did very well until the last quarter of the fight. It looked like the fatigue started to kick in a little bit, and he started to get caught. And all Canelo did was, when Caleb Plant kept leaning down, Canelo was like, okay, his head is wide open, the side of his head is wide open. Okay, so when he leans down, I'ma just hit him on the side of the head. Not the back of the head, the side of the head, which is a legal punch. It's a legal punch. And then Canelo broke him down, and then that's how stoppage. Now, was the stoppage premature? I didn't have a problem. Me, myself, I didn't have a problem with the stoppage. I had no problem with the stoppage, but I'm gonna have to watch it again. But I clearly thought Caleb Plant was outboxing Canelo. If this fight takes place probably 2 years from now, if it wasn't a rush to get Canelo undisputed, Caleb Plant probably wins this fight going away, because Caleb Plant clearly to me won the first 5 rounds. And if I see Caleb Plant, I'm gonna tell him that I had him ahead on the card. And that's something that Caleb Plant can say, hey, I just didn't have the experience. I was winning the fight until I got caught. Even though the judges didn't have Caleb Plant winning, I had Caleb Plant winning. Look, I have no horse in the race. I'm not black. I'm not Mexican. I'm not on Caleb Plant's payroll, and I'm not on Canelo's payroll. So for people to just say, oh, well, you're just saying it because Caleb Plant. Well, no, because I'm not white. I'm not remotely white. And I'm not Mexican. Not remotely Mexican. I have Mexicans that's married to people in my family, but that's about it. So I have no horse in the race. I call it like how I saw it. And most people objectively thought the same thing. Caleb Plant was ahead, at least on the scorecards, to most people that watched the fight. Like I said, let me guess. I'm hating on Canelo because he's Mexican, right? So if you come on here and try that, you gonna instantly get ran out of here. Oh, shout out to the homie 503 line. Yeah, I had it 7-3. I had it 7-3. Caleb Plant going into that 11th round. It was around Caleb Plant rallied, but no, the fight. No, I'm sorry, that's not the fight I was watching. It's not the fight I was watching. Canelo struggled tremendously against Caleb Plant the first half of the fight. And anybody that's being objective will just admit that that's the truth. Now, some people say, hey, I had Canelo win the fight. I didn't. I don't think so. But the fact of the matter is, it doesn't matter who was winning, until the stoppage. At the end of the day, Canelo's hand got raised. But this is the type of stuff that makes you draw question marks around Canelo. When you fight Canelo, are you just going in there to just lose? Canelo was missing a lot of his shots. He had a hard time trying to hit Caleb Plant flush. And Caleb Plant, like I said, he just didn't see some of the moments because, like I said, the jab was working for him. I just think what he should have did when Canelo was coming in with that high guard, because Canelo come in, he bobbing and weaving, sort of like a little Mike Tyson feel to it with the high guard. So what I would do is I would keep jabbing, and then I would hit Canelo on the side, and then let off a couple of combinations, and then circle around Canelo, because that would have worked. That would have worked. And then I would have tried the uppercut. I think the uppercut was there for Caleb Plant. But it was some missed opportunity for Caleb Plant to really get off on Canelo. But based off the scoring, it don't look like Caleb Plant was going to win that fight regardless. I mean, 8 rounds to 2 for Canelo. On all 3 of the judges' scorecards, or one of them had is 7-3. Wow. I'm like, wow, am I missing something? Oh yeah, by the way, shout out to Kenny Porter. I'll talk to Kenny Porter about an hour ago. I texted him. They're gonna meet this week to figure out who the judge is gonna be for his fight with Terrence Crawford. This particular fight, I would probably go with, for Sean Style, probably I would recommend Tony Weeks. But I'm not picking the judges or whatever. That's up to them. But yeah, I'll talk to Kenny about an hour ago. They're gonna meet this week about who they want to referee the fight. I don't know who the judges are gonna be yet, but they're gonna have a meeting this week to decide who's gonna judge this. Who's gonna referee this fight. But yeah, let's get back to Canelo. And I know people have seen me go in on Canelo, and I went off on Canelo, but I do think he's a great fighter. But and whether Canelo fans like it or not, the diehards, Canelo is never gonna be universally liked by all boxing fans, because at the end of the day, a lot of people think Canelo is a cheater. He's been caught cheating. Whether you like it or not, that's going to always be a stain on his record. As great as a fighter he is, there's just going to be some people that's never going to like Canelo. And now you hear that Virgil Ortiz is leaving Robert Garcia. He's going to Eddie Reynoso. And I think Eddie Reynoso is a good trainer. And it's kind of funny. It's kind of funny that Eddie Reynoso made his fighters sign a waiver saying that, hey man, I'm just a trainer. I don't have nothing to do with conditioning or nutrition. I'm just a trainer. So he basically said, hey man, whatever they doing, that ain't got nothing to do with me. I'm just a trainer. So my name Bennett, I ain't in it. So Virgil Ortiz is moving over to train with Eddie Reynoso. Now, like I said, I'm not accusing them of nothing. But that's interesting. Why switch from Robert Garcia? And you undefeated, and you by stoppage if I'm not mistaken. And quick side note. I know that I kind of was given, I know I kind of gave Sugar Hill the side eye because of this controversy with Tyson Fury. But Sugar Hill is a good damn trainer because that knockout that Anthony Dirrell got, yeah. And he's working with Nico Ali Walsh. By the way, Nico Ali Walsh, that's a good kid, man. That's a good kid, man. I like that dude. I like him a lot. Nice guy, man. Nice guy. You know, nice guy. I like Nico Ali Walsh a lot. And shout out to Sugar Hill too, man, because like I said, Sugar Hill, you know, he granted me an interview. So, you know, at the end of the day, you know, great interview. I could have got more footage from him, but, you know, I was trying to get to that fight. So shout out to Sugar Hill. But Sugar Hill, he's a good trainer, man. I got to keep. You know, Nico Ali Walsh, he's a prospect. He's what's that word? What's the word I'm trying to use? He's growing. He's one of them dudes. We gotta wait and see where he is in a couple of years because it's, you know, at the end of the day, it's no rush for him to like try to become, you know, his grandfather. But yeah, Sugar Hill, he a good trainer, man, and I can't take that away from the brother. I got to give him credit. He a good trainer because if he keeps training Tyson Fury may retire undefeated. And I'm just keeping it a buck. As far as getting back to the Canelo fight, how did I score the fight? Until the stoppage, I had it 7-3, Caleb Plant. I gave the first 5 rounds to Caleb Plant. I gave the 6th round to Canelo. And then there was 2 rounds in between that were swing rounds, but I went with Caleb Plant. Because there was a couple of rounds he rallied in. But the 11th, that was pretty much it. You know, Canelo, and like I said before, I'm gonna tell you something, and this is real talk. I know Canelo won't admit it, and I don't think Canelo knew what the scorecards said. I think Canelo was worried that he was losing that fight. Now, he'll never admit it, but I think Canelo was worried that he was losing that fight because Canelo just went to a second gear. I mean, he went from for real, he went from like 3rd gear to like 6th gear. If you know, for anybody that's ever owned the Corvettes, the old Corvettes have 6 gears instead of 5. So I think Canelo just like, okay, I might be losing this fight. Okay. And I'm telling you that Canelo probably was a little nervous. So Canelo turned it up, and I mean, he just went on the tear. I think he felt that he was behind on the scorecards, which he wasn't. And then he ended up like getting the stoppage. Like I said, I got to look at the stoppage. But to me, it looked like Caleb Plant was done. Equilibrium was, you know, he was dazed. Like I said, Canelo is a smart fighter. And I was like, dang, Caleb Plant, like, he, you know, when you start complaining to the referee about, hey, man, why you letting me, hey, if I was a boxer, somebody hit me low, I'm hitting him low. Somebody hit me in the back of the head, I'm hitting him in the back of the head. It ain't none of this. I ain't looking at the referee to do nothing. I'm going to do it until the referee tell me to stop. And that's another mistake Caleb Plant made. That's another crucial mistake Caleb Plant made. When Canelo was hitting him in those clinches, And he was looking at the referee like, why you ain't saying nothing, man? You know the referee wasn't going to say nothing. That's Canelo. He's not going to say nothing, bruh. When he did that in the 10th round, I was like, okay. Okay, Canelo might be about to turn it up. But yeah, I think Canelo thought that he was losing. I think Canelo sensed that he might be behind, and he was like, okay, maybe I need to get this going. Because you would think Canelo would be like, okay, well, I think I'm winning the fight. So, I think I'm winning the fight. So, you know what? I'm gonna just keep doing what I need to do, and then I'm gonna let the judges handle it. But nah, Canelo went in there. He went in there like with a sense of urgency. So I think deep down inside, Canelo thought he was losing that fight. So that speaks volumes, and it coincides with what I was saying about, okay, why did the judges have Canelo ahead by wide margin? When I think, in fact, Canelo didn't think he was winning that fight. When have you seen Canelo just go in there just like he went like Barry Bonds? I think he thought that he was behind. That's my honest opinion. But anyway, thanks for listening. I'm out.